G'day, Steve here, Woodworking Masterclass. And the videos if you want to watch all three, you're about to watch occurred because something unprecedented happened in the workshop. And you'll see that at the beginning of the video when it starts. I lost power. I was actually finishing off this pencil case, putting the solid edging in, and I lost power to the shed. And bear in mind, when I'm talking about what I have, it's letting you know the things you've got to think about if you want to do woodwork in a confined area inside. So you haven't got room for all the machines that you would have in a workshop. And I hope you enjoy the series. And when we start building furniture, I hope you become a subscriber. Well, there you go. I've blown a main circuit breaker and it won't kick back in. So I've just rung an electrician up. And he's coming out, if you can't get here this afternoon, it'll be tomorrow, and fix it. So then I'll have lights. Well, I've got shed lights, but I haven't got studio lights. The cameras are now working on battery. I don't have a saw. In fact, I haven't got any power in the shed at all, except for the lights. So what I thought I would do, what an ideal opportunity to introduce you to the new show, Room for Woodwork. And I've got a little block plane here that I've had for about, I don't know, 25, 30 years. And last episode that I put up, I restored a 5 1/4 Stanley Bailey plane. And I used kerosene and lubricants and what have you, and I did it here on the bench. Well, I've had a couple of messages and emails from people. Someone didn't like using flammable liquid. Another person said, in fact it was Adam, said it's 30 degrees or minus 30 degrees outside. So what I thought I'd do would be take this block plane up into the in-house workshop, and I've got to do a test video anyway. We'll give it a run, we'll see how the studio works, we'll see how the bench works, and you can actually come and see the new workshop. So let's go up to the Room for Woodwork workshop, which is actually in the home. Just to let you know, it actually is a legitimate home, and it's a legitimate bedroom, and it's a legitimate studio. So let's go inside. There's the workshop, there's the bed, there's the bookcase, there's the desk, and even has its very own Bob. So here we are, in the workshop, in the bedroom, in my home. It's a legitimate home, it's a workable, working bedroom, and this is my woodworking area in the house. Now, I had very strict criteria, and believe me, it took a lot of grovelling and promising and scraping to get where I am today. Because, as you can understand, the other part of the business, namely the wife, didn't want noise, she didn't want mess, she didn't want smells, and she didn't want me creating a workshop in the house that she'd have to clean up. So the deal was no mess, no smell, no noise, and I think that's about it. The idea is a lot of people, they work in apartments, or they live in apartments, or they live in flats or walk-ups, or they don't have a backyard, they don't have the luxury of a shed, but they want to get involved in woodwork and they feel that they can't because of limited spaces. As I said before, the goal with Room for Woodwork is to show you how you can be totally involved in woodwork, make actual furniture pieces, not miniature pieces, but full-size pieces within a very small area. You've just got to be organised, and that's a big challenge for me because I'm definitely not organised. The work area I have here, from that wall to the end of my toolbox, which is this one I've built here, which I'll show you later, but it actually opens up, and all the tools that I have and be using, they're either stored in that tool chest or under the bench I'm working on. 1.8 that way, and if I go a little bit out to there, I'm looking at 1.3, 1.4 metres. So say 4 foot by 6 foot area. What I said down there was I was going to restore this plane in here without using solvents and without making any smell or any mess. So this little tray here, any sort of tray, if you've got one, a little breakfast tray or something or other, If it's not rubber, it might be an idea to put something anti-slip underneath it, like some of that non-slip shelving matting. As I did with that 5 1/4 a couple of weeks ago, there's a sheet of glass. It fits in that rubber tray. So I'll redo the sole. We'll do the blade. I'll set it up, and then we'll do a test plane, and we might make a little cheese platter or a little cutting board or something or other, just to prove that it works. So I'm going to start off, because this is already flat, I don't need 120 or 180 grit. I'm going to start off just with 400 grit. I've got plain old water, just to prove it to you. Just water, nothing's flash. You can, if you like, because it does help, just give a little squirt of detergent on it. That helps the sort of lubricates the wet and dry. As with the 5 1/4 I did, retract the blade, and I'm going to surface this with everything intact, so then I know I've got it nice and flat. Adam, I hope you're watching. This is for you. It's about 38 degrees outside, not minus 30 as it is with you, but you can do this inside and you won't get into trouble. And if you don't like using flammable liquids or caustic liquids, this is going to do just as good a job. Same, circular motions or figure of eights, side to side, up and down, round and round. If you have a look at that, that's starting to even out quite nicely. Minimum of fuss. Now with a block plane, I don't bother doing the sides. The reason being, very, very seldom do I ever use a block plane as a shooting plane. I know I have in previous videos on box making, but as a rule I don't. So I'm not going to worry about that. Now, depending how badly if yours is pitted, you might have to start with a more aggressive one or keep going. That's at 400. I was thinking of going at 600 or 800, but quite frankly, that's smooth enough. So that's nice and clean. I've now finished with that. Got a bucket down here, so I'm just going to throw that in so I don't make a mess. Wipe the glass down. And at the moment I'm keeping with the brief. There's been no smell and I've made no mess. Okay, now we can pull the plane to bits. Shaving stuck in there from somewhere. And it's not too bad, it's got a bit of muck in it. So what we'll do, pick this bucket of water up, still putting it on the tray so we're still nice and clean. Throw it in there. Oh my goodness, that's water. Oh yes it is. But you know what, water's not too bad. That's ordinary detergent. Water's not bad. The only reason it does horrible things is if you don't dry it off. Now I've got a nylon brush, give it a good scrub. Or a toothbrush will do fine. I'll just get into all the little nooks and crannies like that. Now you can, if you've got a heat gun, sure you could use a heat gun, not on high heat because it will heat the metal up, but or a hairdryer will do. But really if you've got none of that, just do what I'm doing, just an old towel or something absorbent. And then when you come to the threads, just give it a shot of breath, that'll work. Now we can start putting it all together. Again, same as a big shed. Piece of candle, just go over the screw threads. That's where that sliding mouth goes, just a little bit of candle in there is good too. Make sure that mouth is nice and clean there. Make sure you get good smooth action opening and closing. And work out what position your blade goes in. There, I generally have it in the middle one. And with block planes it's bevel up. That's pretty well restored and back together. Restored this plane, or brightened it up, using only water and a bit of wet and dry. I'll show you how you can sharpen the blade if you've got a particular machine, or if not, how to use it just on a stone. And again, just using water and keeping with the brief that it has to be clean, it has to be no smell, no mess and no noise.